The way I heard it go down was that my teenage son, Jimmy Boy, was standing in the middle of the scorching hot desert with a gun in his hands, a man on his knees in front of him, and no way out of a terrible situation. If I had been there, none of this would have happened. The man on his knees was named Sal Vittori. Please, I swear I didn't steal it. Why would I start a war between us? Aidan Byrne, the head of a local Irish gang, put his hand on my son's shoulder. The hand of a man who had claimed my son as his own. Listen to me, boy. This is your chance to show us what you're made of. Sal wept. Please, I have kids and grandkids for Christ's sake. I never stole from your gang. Aidan's crazed, trigger-happy wife, Kaylee, stepped up beside them. Can we cut this one's head off and go bowling with it? Aidan laughed. Whatever you want to do, darling. Sweat poured down my lost son's face. His 17-year-old hands were shaking, and every part of him that was still human was in direct conflict with every part of him that just wanted to belong to something and be cool. My son stood up straighter and tried to dig deep and find what he thought was strength. He stood there for a long moment with the gun against Sal's head, and what I consider a miracle, he couldn't do it. His arm dropped. He stepped back and stared down at the ground in shame. I'm sorry. Aidan went ice cold. Then he did something that haunts me when I think about it. He put his hand against my son's cheek the way a father does, pulled him in and kissed him on the forehead. Aidan took the gun from Jimmy Boy's hands and passed it on to Kaylee. She took it with the manic smile of someone who lived to kill and got off on power. She pulled the trigger and emptied the clip into the rest of Sal just for fun. But they had literally no idea someone was watching, because behind a large rock 50 yards away, a man from the Riccozzi family saw the whole thing. From the angle where he was crouched down, Kaylee's smaller frame was hidden in front of my son's body. All he saw was a young man with a gun doing the shooting, and that's what he reported back to my handler, Lou Riccozzi. Lou called me immediately while I was waiting to see my doc. I got one last job for you. My little brother Sal was just taken out by the Byrne gang. Lou choked back tears. I had never heard him like that. I have a guy that told me some new recruit named Jimmy Boy did it. I want you to kill this Jimmy Boy fella and send a message. I'll pay you double your normal wage. This one's personal for me. You've taken good care of me all these years, so why not go out in a blaze of glory, right? That's the man I know. But before I even realized what I agreed to, Dr. Harding slid my medical file to me across his desk like he was handing me a parking ticket. I'm sorry to say it, but the X-ray shows that your tumor has grown to the point of no return. There's no easy way to say this. You probably have a week at most to live. I stayed still. Wasn't expecting to hear an expiration date on my life. We could try another round of chemo if you want. Up to you. Nah, I'll pass. I stood up. It's been good knowing you, Doc. Just a warning. You might start losing your faculties before you go. Enough with all the good news. He grinned as I left. I drove to my ex-wife Lucy's place the next morning. She opened the door, saw my face, and slammed it shut again. I stood on the porch and knocked until she opened up. Listen, I know you hate me, but I got a week to live. Probably less. Lucy's eyes were red from crying as I followed her in. Why do you look more sad than me? She fixed herself a drink. It's been 10 years. You really think I want to start opening up to you now? She had a good point. I'd carried the reason for leaving like a stone in my gut for a decade, telling myself it was the only way to keep them safe from what I had become. I just wanted to see you and James one last time. That's all. Well, you're gonna have to go to the Irish pub if you want to see him and call him by his new name. Jimmy Boy. I dropped my glass. You're crying because our son's trying to join the Irish Mafia? How did you know that? Don't worry about that. Why the hell didn't you stop him? Because he's completely out of control. Maybe if you had been around the last 10 years, he wouldn't be searching for a father figure. And why do you care all of a sudden? Because I've been hired to do one last job. Kill our son. She dropped her glass. I walked into the Irish pub with the intention of learning what was what and who was who, then letting my gun do all the talking. I sat at a booth and ordered a drink when Aidan approached me in the way dangerous men do when they're deciding whether you're gonna be useful or just a problem. How you doing? All right. You? I'm peachy. Thanks. Then the back door opened and Jimmy Boy walked in. I hadn't seen him in 10 years, and holy crap did he grow. He looked right at me, then looked away, not recognizing me at all. That one stung. He sat nearby and was wearing a Rams hat. Rams fan, huh? Yeah. Even his voice had gotten deeper. Have you always been a Rams fan? I love football. Cool. Jimmy Boy looked at me like I was a weirdo, then walked off. Aidan glared, then leaned closer to me. Why you trying so hard to talk to my son? Your son? Yeah. You some kind of perv? I shook my head. I'm getting a weird vibe from you, pal. I think you better see yourself out. I haven't finished my drink. Aidan got right in my face. I won't ask again. His henchman, Connor, approached from behind me with a menacing stare. It's ironic that you call him your son, since he's actually my son. By blood. Aiden sat back, waved Connor away, and smiled. Jimmy Boy turned towards me when he heard that and took a closer look. My dad's been dead to me for 10 years. You have every right to hate me, but I just want a few words with you, that's all. My son's eyes darted at Aiden, searching for permission. Aiden gave it to him. We sat in a booth, but Aiden and Kaylee were nearby, listening in. I just stared at him, taking in who he's become. Would you quit staring so hard? You're creeping me out. I leaned in closer to him. You mind if we go somewhere private? Yeah, I do mind. Aiden and Kaylee are my real parents. They actually care about me. I covered how much that one hurt. All right, so, how's school going? I dropped out in the 7th grade. I grinded my teeth. Why'd you do that? Because I felt like it. Take it easy with the attitude. I'm just trying to get to know you. It's way too late for that. What was your name again? I felt Aiden and Kaylee watching us from the bar, listening to every word. Look, just give me a chance to make it right between us. Let's go and get a bite to eat and let me explain some things. Aiden and Kaylee slid into the booth. I unhooked the leather strap on my gun holster. Do you mind? We're trying to have a conversation here. I heard, and I want to interrupt because while you're telling him about yourself and all that crap, I want to know, what do you do for a living? None of your damn business. I gripped onto my gun and stared directly into the bastard's eyes. Aiden and Kaylee both lowered their hands below the table and did the same. Jimmy Boy froze as Connor and 2 more Irish mobsters approached. I was outgunned and outmanned, but I didn't budge. I'm gonna give you 20 seconds to get the f*** out of my bar, or your son will see your brains get splattered like a painting on that wall behind you. I thought about just going out, guns blazing right now, but remembered that I had to save my son, and this wasn't the smart way to do it. So, I stood up and started walking towards the front door. On my way out, I heard Aiden call me a muppet. I drove away with my hands gripped tightly on the wheel. My vision was getting blurry from the tumor pushing in on the back of my eyes. I was happy in a way though because I saw a flicker of curiosity in my son's eyes. That was all I needed. An hour later, I got an urgent call from Lucy. Someone's in my house. I'm hiding in the closet. Seconds later, I could hear the closet door swing open and Lucy scream out, "Get your hands off of me." I heard her get slammed down onto the hardwood floors, so I hit the gas and headed over to her house. By the time I had arrived, I found her in a daze on the floor, with a black eye and a busted-up nose. It was one of those Irish assholes. I tried to stop him, but he stole Jimmy Boy's birth certificate out of the safe. I helped her up and realized Aiden wanted to verify that I was Jimmy Boy's real father, and he got my real name. That meant Aiden would now easily find out that I was a hired gun for the Riccozzi family. Later that night, I followed the gang in their Cadillac to a house party across town and stopped at the dollar store on the way. I got a sombrero and a curled fake mustache. Not my most sophisticated disguise, but it got me through the door. I moved through the party with people giving me sideways looks, and I patiently waited for my opportunity. Jimmy Boy finally headed into the bathroom alone, and I followed him in and took off my disguise. Look, I just needed to tell you, I'm really sorry about everything I've done. I screwed up so bad, but believe it or not, I really do love the hell out of you, kid. And I want to make sure that you know what you're getting into. He was speechless. Then the door busted open, and a cute teenage girl barged in. Jimmy Boy smiled and wrapped his arm around her. "This is Kyler, my girlfriend." I shook her hand, choked back tears of pride. "It's great to meet you. This is my bio dad." I stopped cold. He called me dad. Yeah, bio dad, but I'll take it. Then I turned to see Aiden and Connor approaching, making their way through the crowd. As I was climbing out the window, I got my son's attention. If these people were your real family, they'd want the best for you. Just think about that. I snuck out before Aiden and Connor arrived, made it down the street, looked back, and saw my son standing on the balcony with his girlfriend. I smiled to myself. They make a great couple. I had a fantasy of them getting married one day, and I'd be there in the front row in my tux. Then a harsh pain coursed through my body, bringing me back to my ugly reality. I pulled up in my driveway and noticed that my front door was slightly open, and I heard faint sounds of strange classical music coming from somewhere inside my house. I don't own any classical music. I drew my gun, knowing full well that Aiden had sent one of his henchmen to take me out. Once he found out who I was, he sure as hell didn't waste any time. I entered my house and searched through the living room, then very carefully went down the hallway. I kicked open the door to the bathroom to see nobody. Then I shoved open the guest bedroom door to see no one. The eerie classical music was growing louder. Someone was obviously trying to bait me into a trap. Then I saw my bedroom door slowly creak open by an inch. The music was coming from my bedroom, and someone turned the volume up on it. I held my gun steady, kicked in the door, and rushed in to see no one, but a small Irish leprechaun doll sitting on my pillow, blinking and playing classical music through a speaker in its mouth. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the bottom of my bedroom closet door, slightly open by half an inch. I swung the closet door open and stepped aside. A bullet flew past my head and went into the wall. The sound of it made me temporarily deaf. I saw a massive tattooed Irishman, so I disarmed his gun, aimed mine at his head, but he smacked my gun out of my hands before I could fire. We wrestled around the room and bashed into the walls and knocked over side tables. We landed hard on the ground with his weight crushing down on me. I had to ask, does this weird Beethoven Lucky Charms shit usually work for you? Yup, most people aren't smart enough to check the closet when they see his smiling little face. I kneed him in the nuts and he clawed at my eyes. I shoved his hand out of my face and bit his hand. He slammed an elbow across my jaw. Then I remembered that I had taped one of my strategically placed knives under my mattress. I grabbed it and stuck it through his chest. He stared into my eyes in shock. Who keeps a hunting knife under their bed? An ex-Marine with about 1,000 enemies. Makes sense. Good one. He died as his eyes stayed open and the eerie classical music still played from the leprechaun doll. A few hours later, after I cleaned everything up and iced my face, I started taking painkillers by the handful. My body aches were getting worse. I perked up a little when Jimmy Boy came over, looked around and sat across from me. What's with the heavy scent of pine sol and incense? I had the stench of an evil little leprechaun here earlier. Had to get rid of the smell. Can I get you something to drink? Soda? Water? How about a beer? Nope, you're underage. So look, I work for the Lou Riccozzi Mafia as a hired gun. His cousin, Sal, was recently killed by your Irish pals. Did you pull the trigger? I was supposed to, but I couldn't go through with it. Kaylee ended up doing it instead. I let out a sigh of relief. Jimmy Boy looked away, embarrassed. Look, this path you're on is no good, says the hired gun. I've made my own bad choices that you don't have to follow. All I want is for you to be safe. Come with me right now and let's skip town. I'll get you set up wherever you want. He shook his head. I'm sorry, but my whole life is here. I can't. Besides, I'm in love with Kyler. I was at a loss. I couldn't blame him for not wanting to leave. It just meant that the only way I could ensure his safety was to take out the entire Irish gang. All right, try to stay away from the pub until I sort this out. Aiden won't let me. If I spend the night anywhere else, he has Connor outside guarding me. He sees me like a son. Fine, but when guns go blazing, you need to find the nearest exit. You feel me? He nodded with fear in his eyes. I realized that I was better off at a motel, so I packed a bag and headed out. It wouldn't be long before Aiden sent another assassin once he finds out what I did to his guy. I settled in and returned Lou's call. Look, the situation just became a lot more complicated. What does that mean? I found out that Jimmy Boy wasn't the one that pulled the trigger. Kaylee Byrne is responsible. No, that can't be true. My sources have confirmed that it was Jimmy Boy. Your sources are wrong. Fine. Then I need you to kill Jimmy Boy and Kaylee and Aiden. I want all the leaders taken out. No one gets away with what they did to my brother. He hung up on me, and then I felt my hands start tingling. The body aches kept coming in waves in a battle with the painkillers. I tried to sleep it off, but all I did was roll around and soak the sheets in sweat. A couple hours later, Jimmy Boy called me. Aiden wants to bury the hatchet and have you come over to the pub for dinner tonight. He thinks we can all come to some sort of a resolution. Could he be any more obvious about this being a trap? There was dead silence on the other end, which told me that Aiden was probably standing right next to him. Tell him that I'd be honored to be his dinner guest. I quickly drove over to the Irish pub, parked in the back alley, and cut out their power with a remote device. Aiden, Kaylee, and Connor all came out front, guns drawn. I used the distraction to go around to the back of the bar and stash weapons in different hiding spots next to the dumpster. I headed out to my storage unit and loaded up on ammo and hardware. Lucy met me there. Listen up. After I take care of business over at the pub, I'm gonna need you to get out of town with Jimmy Boy and his girlfriend. I can set you up with enough money for a few years, and I have a friend in the Midwest that'll take you all in. She agreed. What are you going to do? What do you think? I took her hand. I want you to know that I never stopped loving you. The real reason I left was that I really felt that it was the only way to keep you and Jimmy safe and away from the life I've lived. I was wrong, and leaving both of you will be the biggest regret of my life. I hope one day you can forgive me. She wiped a tear away and hugged me. What I found out later was that before I arrived for dinner, Aiden pulled my son aside and told him that tonight was the night he proved himself worthy of the gang. One job: put a bullet in his father's head. I was a liability, and I had to go. And if Jimmy Boy failed, Aiden would take Kyler out, put a bullet in her head, and bury her in the desert. My son was 17 years old, and the man who'd been his whole world for the past several years was pointing a gun at the girl he loved and calling it loyalty. Aiden and Kaylee greeted me as I walked in. What are you drinking? Anything. Connor patted me down for any weapons and escorted me to a seat directly across from Aiden. Jimmy Boy sat near me as Connor and Dylan stood guard right behind me. Aiden sized me up as Kaylee gave me a drink. I twisted my glass to face the exact angle where I could see the reflection of Connor and Dylan standing behind me. Aiden tapped his glass to get my attention. Has Jimmy Boy told you how we met? Nope. It's a beautiful story. He was 9 years old and played baseball on my son's team. Aiden glanced over at a picture of Calvin, a cool-looking 9-year-old kid that looked a lot like Jimmy Boy. They used to be best friends. He used to come over to our house and the two of them would toss the baseball in the backyard for hours. Then our son caught an errant bullet from a drive-by. Chechen gangsters. 6 months later, I found every Chechen and their family members and removed them from the planet. Why the hell are you telling me this? I just need you to know that there's nothing I won't do to hold on to Jimmy Boy here. He's all we have left that reminds us of our lost boy. So, I'm gonna give you two choices. You can leave town and don't ever contact your son again. Or you can die a bloody, long, miserable death right here in this pub. We will beat and torture you unlike anything you've ever experienced, and we'll force your boy to watch before he stands above you and pulls the trigger and puts you out of your misery. I'll give you 30 seconds to mull it over. I stared straight at him. You're lying because if I left town, you'd spend every resource imaginable coming after me, and you know it. I'm a dead man either way. Aiden smiled. I admire your intelligence. Before I could say anything else, I went completely blind in my right eye and lost feeling in my left hand. On top of that, my painkillers had completely worn off. Lucky me. On the bright side, at least it wasn't my shooting hand that lost all feeling. All I can say is, you and your entire gang can all f off and die. And when you're all dead and buried, I'll stop by the cemetery every Sunday and piss on all of your graves. I smiled and pointed at Aiden. And I'll save an extra special treat for you. I'll shit all over your grave and sing an Irish lullaby while I do it. Aiden turned red, signaled to Connor with his eyes. Through the reflection of my glass, I saw Connor draw his gun and aim it at the back of my head. With all the energy I had left, I swung my arm around, knocked the gun out of Connor's hand, leaped over a table and rushed out of the back door. I ran out back towards an area near the dumpster, reached down and pulled out 2 handguns. I waited by the edge of the dumpster. Connor and Dylan came out, guns firing. A bullet grazed my arm. I blinked a few times and tried to get my bearings with only one of my eyes working. Severe pain was shooting up through my spine at random times. I gritted my teeth, aimed around the corner of the dumpster and fired back at their position. Connor and Dylan took cover behind the back door to the bar. Both of us traded gunfire back and forth several times. Then I ran out of ammo on both guns, dropped them, rushed around to the other side of the pub and took out another gun I had hidden under a garbage can. I waited for Connor to come around the edge of the building wall, then blew off his head. Dylan stepped out from behind the edge of the wall, and I took him out with a bullet to the eye. Kaylee came rushing out shooting a machine gun and screaming like an Irish banshee. She saw me and unloaded on my position. Tons of bullets ricocheted off of the back fence, the dumpster and the wall. I caught a bullet to the shoulder and another one to the side. I grimaced in pain as blood spilled out of me. I tried to hide behind the dumpster, but bullets kept bouncing off of everything. Then it stopped abruptly. I waited for Kaylee to reload, stepped out, and put a bullet in her neck. She clutched her throat, dropped down in agony as Aiden came running out and saw her. He knelt down and tried to stop the bleeding. I fired at him and missed. He yelled out in a guttural rage and fired his M16. He caught me with 2 shots in the gut and the chest. I hit the ground and choked up blood. He walked over to me casually, stuck his gun in my face, then a bullet rang out and nailed him in the back of the head. He dropped like an Irish sack of potatoes. Jimmy Boy had snuck up behind him and pulled the trigger. He sat down on the pavement next to me and held my hand. I touched the side of his face and smiled. I'm proud of you, kiddo. He choked back tears. I'm sorry it had to be this way, Dad. I got choked up. I'm happy you didn't call me Bio Dad. We shared a smile. Promise me you'll leave with your mom and go and become an accountant or do some other boring job, will ya? He smiled. You got it. I love you, kid. Then I heard a car slam on its brakes and Lou got out, aiming his gun at Jimmy Boy. Don't do it, Lou. Please. Lou was trembling. No one takes out my little brother and gets away with it. He started to pull the trigger at my boy. I sat up with the few ounces of strength I had left and put my very last bullet in his head. I laid back, looked up at the sky, and pictured myself sitting at my son's wedding. Shortly thereafter, Lucy and Kyler pulled up in a car, and Jimmy Boy kissed my forehead. Love you too, Dad. As the police sirens were getting closer, I barely spoke. Go! Go! He took one last look at me with tears in his eyes, got into the car, and drove away. I barely managed to wave goodbye as they went, and then it was like someone flipped off a switch and turned out the lights.